Most of us, we know David as the little boy who killed Goliath. And later David became a man of God, that God used him to destroy most of his enemy. When David was just a little boy, God instructed the prophet to go to his house and anointed him as the next king. In the book of 1 Samuel 16, prophet took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brother. And the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon David from that day forward. And Samuel the prophet rose up and went to Ramah. I don't know if you noticed, something very strange just happened. Prophet anointed David and left Ramah, and David was left in his house. That's strange. Instead of David going into the palace and presenting himself as a new king and tell King Saul, for today, for now on, I'm the new king and you're going to do everything I tell you to do. David went back to the shepherd field, doing the same job he used to do before, looking after his dead animal, nothing of going to palace. That is strange, because he was anointed, so he should be the king. Bible does not give us a precise age of David when he was anointed, but some Bible scholars believe that David was between 10 to 15 years old when he was anointed. And later David was about 15 to 19 when Jesse, his father, sent him to the battlefield to check on his brother. That's when David met Goliath, and he challenged Goliath. Goliath was there 40 days and 40 nights, challenging and respecting people of God. That's when David met Goliath and he challenged him. And God used David with a small stone, killed Goliath. So if we look from when David was anointed to the king, to be the next king, to the age where he met Goliath, there's about 5 to 9 years gap. So my question is, what was David doing all the time? And what Bible tells us about that? Or another question could be, why God hidden David all this time? God chose David to be the next king of Israel. Because he was going to be the king, he was going to see more influence. He was going to deal with more challenge. So God had to isolate David for training, for preparation, for him to be ready to be the next king. Those years were very important in life of David. The time of isolation was the time where David developed a very close and meaningful relationship with God. While David was there out alone, with no one to talk to, no friend, no media attention, no crowd around him, he could just get discouraged. David could start complaining to God. Why, God? You just anointed me. You told me I was going to be the next king. I was going to lead the people. But all I've been doing days after days, years after years, after many years, is just looking after my dad's sheep. But that's not what David did. Bible does not show one account where David was complaining about being in isolation, being there looking after his father's sheep. David took care of his dead animal, as the animal belonged to himself. He protected them, he cared for them, he did all the best for them. David got to the point where he killed a lion and a bear that came to attack and eat his father's animal. David killed them with his bare hand to see how committed David was to look after his dead animal. David used that time to come closer to God, to develop a meaningful connection with God. You know, going through a season of silence that seems endless, David started writing some of the Psalms that we have today. When David was there alone and in danger, he wrote, "The Lord is my shepherd, to guide me, to shield me, to protect me, to feed me. I should never want." Does no matter what happened, God will stay by my side. You know, in loneliness, sadness time, David also wrote, surely your goodness, God, and love, your endless love, will follow me all day of my life, and I will live in your house forever. When David felt abandoned, devalued by his family, by his own brother, he wrote again, even if my father and my mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Because the connection David had with God, he knew that God would never leave him. He was taking time. But David knew in the right time, God would come and pick him. You know, even when the lion came to attack David and his animal, David wrote, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you, God, are with me. David knew that he was with God and God was with him. The time of isolation, the time that God hid David was the time that he prepared himself, that he got ready. Like David, sometimes we feel that things are not going our way. We do our best, we do everything, but no one notices us. Seems like no one cares about us. We feel that the dream that God put in our heart is taking forever. Doesn't matter what we do, we're not seeing the breakthrough. But remember, like David, doesn't matter where you are not alone. It doesn't matter how long it's taking, you are not left behind. God did not forget about you, and he never forget about the promise he has for you and the promise he put in your heart. The time where you are now, the silent season, the time of isolation, is the time of preparation, is the time of training, is the time for you to get yourself ready. The same way David got himself ready, prepared, is the same thing I'm telling you. Get yourself ready. Being the season of silence is a powerful sign that God is preparing something for you. Because you are very special for God. He's keeping you. He's hiding you. You've been hidden. You've been protected for all the attack, all the evil. And in the right time, God will come and will elevate you, will put you in a position that no evil, no one will be able to stop you. Because what God has for you, the light he has for you, will never allow the darkness to stop you. Continue getting yourself ready. In the right time, God will come and pick you and elevate you to the point that everyone around you will just be surprised about what God is doing in your life.